So the class that I'm designing is called Warrior Wednesdays, and it's a middle of the week Wednesday class specifically for teachers and staff members of the school community. The focus is on learning how to find that inner flame, ignite it, and ultimately find and unleash that inner warrior. Help us learning how to burn within so that the teacher, doesn't burn out. The sequence is specifically designed around the Sanskrit term tapas, which means to burn or to tap into. Tapas is one of the niyamas, which are one of the 8 yoga principles. It's centered around the idea of self-discipline, self-observance, as well as duty. So the sequence I've designed for you today is all about tapping into your tapas, finding that inner strength, tapping into that inner warrior to build that self-discipline and that self-control. The asanas or postures are all about heating up the body, connecting your breath to your movement, your emotions, to ultimately help us gain that self-discipline and that self-control, as well as some self-reflection during that process. We are going to be using some props, and since this is a Warrior Wednesday class, I'm trying to get people to look at the props not as a crutch, but as an armor in a sense. Not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength, something that can protect us and aid us during our practice. We are going to start out with, so you are going to need a block, a blanket, or a pillow. And I have set up a stool over here, my organ stool that I'm going to be using, but having a wall on the left side of your mat, or even a chair or a stool like I'm using, will be helpful because we may use that as a prop. So we're going to actually start in Vajrasana. So Vajrasana is diamond pose. So we're going to need our blanket or our block. We're actually going to be I have a styrofoam block, so it's very cushy. It's a comfortable block to position on. You could use a pillow or a blanket even to cushion this if that's helpful. So I'm going to start in Vajrasana or diamond pose. And I'm first just going to come in and find a comfortable seat here. If this is too much on your legs, again, get a cushion. I'm going to loop the arms back, gaze forward. Bring the hands to the lower belly and just feel your natural breath here for a few breaths. Feel the belly expand with the inhale and pulling the navel in on the exhale, pulling that navel to the spine. A few moments here, just again, catching our breath. So we're going to heat up this posture just by arranging and rearranging our body here. So I'm actually going to come on to my toes, and this is called fire toes in Vajrasana. And we're starting to build up that fire. We're starting to notice that burn. So again, be very aware of your belly as you're breathing, and breathe with an intention. You'll notice that your feet are probably already starting to heat up, and now we want to bring some of that heat into our core. So really think about drawing that navel in on that exhale. So on the inhale, expand, exhale, draw the belly in. Let's do this for 5 rounds of breaths. On that last inhale and on that last exhale, you're going to sigh out through your mouth. And that breath should actually feel pretty warm, a hot exhale out through the mouth. Okay, So now we're going to release the block, bring your legs out to the side, and I'm going to sit in front now so that you can see. We're going to come into what's called fire log pose. So your feet are probably feeling that stretch a little bit. So you can either come into fire log where you're actually stacking. Let's stack our right leg on top of our left leg to start out with. So fire log is a really great posture for building that heat in our hips, as well as our piriformis, this area in here. It can be a little bit challenging for some, so you may want to come onto the edge of a blanket here in our fire log. And if this is too much and you can't stack your legs because you have issues with your knees or your hips, just simply come into a Sukhasana or an easy pose. But while you're in this easy pose, engage your feet. We're still trying to build that heat and also pull your navel in. We're really thinking about our core through every posture that we're doing because we're thinking about that tapas, that burn, and that discipline of controlling these parts of our body and engaging them. So you can come into Sukhasana or you can come back into your fire log if this is comfortable. I'm going to draw the navel in, gaze forward. If you want to close your eyes, I invite you to close your eyes at any time during the postures. That helps you engage more. To create a little extra heat in this posture, you can come onto your forearms. We're not rolling into it or caving in our shoulders here. Again, I'm pulling in the navel. I'm coming onto my forearms. I'm opening up the space of my heart, my collarbones, and gazing forward. You should start to feel some heat. Our feet are engaged, our toes are engaged, and now we're starting to feel that in our hips. They're opening up. You're going to gently roll up and release the legs or uncross them if they're crossed. If you want to, just massage your feet for a moment. Foot's cracking. Let's take it on the other side now. So even something that may seem like a simple posture, if we were just sitting like this, it might be simple. But even when we're sitting in something like this, if you just simply flex your toes, pulling that navel in, you're already going to start to feel some heat, some of that tapas that we're lighting. Come back onto our forearms. Open up those shoulders, drop them down away from the ears, no crunching up. Gaze forward. I can always feel heat in this pose in my legs. But it's a nice heat. And it's a really great hip stretch. Okay, we're going to gently come out, gently uncross those legs again. You can shake out the legs if you want to open up the hips a few moments. And the toes. We've just done a lot on our poor little feet, flexing them and fire toes. All right, so we're going to come into a tabletop. So we're going to come onto our knees. Let's move our pillow or our cushion out of the way. You are going to want to position yourself in front of your stool because we will be using that or the wall, chair. So you do want to position yourself in front of that. So from our tabletop, and we want a nice tabletop that's in alignment. Again, we're moving with integrity and control, thinking of our core, that center area of warmth in our body, drawing that navel up towards our spine, engaging it. Tops of feet are pointed or laying flat on your mat. Just take a few cat-cows here. Drop the belly on the inhale for the cow. Look forward. On the exhale, you're going to pull the navel up into your cat. Drop down into your cow. We're doing a lot with our abdomen today, pulling it in, stretching those muscles, creating heat in our core. So you may even want to stretch those hips out. We just heated those up. So sometimes stretching them out in a little drunken cat-cow can also help generate more of that heat that we're looking for. Okay. So from here, another really great way to take a posture that may seem simple like a tabletop and generate more heat within the posture, we're going to be lifting just our knees like so. And we're going to do that for a round of 5 breaths. On the last breath, you're going to exhale a hot breath out through your mouth. So we're really thinking about this idea of warmth, of discipline, of control. All right, so on the inhale, we're going to lift the knees. Two more breaths here. You might be shaking, that's good, that's the tapas, that's the burn. I'm going to take one more and exhale out through my mouth. Drop the knees down. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel very heated up. So just, you can walk out your tabletop, I guess you could say, that drunken cat-cow. All right, from here, we're going to come into our first plank, or Kumbhakasana. We're going to bring the arms out slightly in front. I'm going to lift up my back feet, so I'm coming into a nice tabletop in alignment, pulling the navel up with intention. Let's hold this for 3 breaths. I want to make sure that your shoulders are in line over your wrists. Navel's pulling up. Back is straight. And now we're going to come into a nice restful type of downward dog. So I'm going to just step my feet back a little bit. And I'm going to walk it out. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And then find some stillness. From here, we're going to lift our right leg in Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana, or 3-legged dog. Toes are facing down towards the earth, belly button's drawing in towards the spine. We're going to lift that leg up towards our chest, pulling everything in, stepping up into a nice high lunge. I'm going to loop the shoulders back. I'm going to gaze forward. From here, I'm going to step my left leg out to the side. I'm going to plant the foot. Toes should be pointing somewhat towards the front edge of your mat. You want to create some space like you're on some railroad tracks here. I'm going to draw the navel in, lift up the upper body, starting to feel some heat. We're going to lift up the arms in a warrior 1, our first warrior. So we've been building up all this heat to come into our first real warrior pose. This intense pose where you do really feel strong. Okay, from here, we're going to, with integrity, with intention, with control, with this heat that we're building, pulling the navel in, we're going to come forward. This is where your stool or your wall or your chair is going to come in handy to help us get here into our first Warrior 3 pose. So, if you're too close to the wall at this point and you want to challenge yourself and go into the full variation of the pose, you can step back slightly. And we'll bring those arms out. Virabhadrasana 3. Okay, I'm going to bring the foot back down. I'm going to frame my foot back here in my high lunge. Whew, feeling heated up. I'm going to step that right leg back to meet the back foot. I'm going to lower my knees. I'm going to take a wide-legged, extended child's pose Balasana here. And just rest. We've just created so much heat. So as warriors, you have to think about that strength, about taking the time to rest as well. Those are all important aspects of being a warrior. Sometimes you need the rest to help you cool down from your posture. So just take a few moments here. Feel all the heat that you've generated just from these few postures. And when you've caught that breath, just when you think that you're cooling down completely, we're going to take it on the other side. So gently come up from your Balasana or Child's Pose. Bring those knees together. Roll the shoulders back. And get ready for round 2 of our warrior postures. So I'm going to come back into my tabletop position here. I'm going to step my legs back. Come up into a nice downward dog. And this time we're going to take the opposite leg up into Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana, or 3-legged dog. Again, drawing the navel in, facing my hips towards the earth. I'm going to lift my leg up towards my belly and draw it up and down into my nice high lunge. I'm going to loop the shoulders back, look forward. I'm going to step that right leg, my back leg out like I did on the other side on my railroad tracks here, foot facing more towards the front edge of your mat. With intention, I'm going to pull in that core. I'm going to slowly lift up my upper body, rolling my shoulders back, looking forward, gazing forward, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Let's lift those arms up in our second warrior 1 or Virabhadrasana 1. Feeling the heat, feeling the burn. From here, again with control, discipline, I'm going to pull the navel in. I'm going to gently lift up and kind of use my foot to help push me up onto that left leg, that standing leg. Again, if you're close to the wall at this point, and if it's not helping you balance, just take a nice step back and make room for your arms to go out if you'd like to try the full variation. So you can just come here. Ooh. Or we can bring our arms. Ooh. Let's see if I can do it. Forward. Feeling that tapas now, feeling that shake, that burn, which is good. Let's lower that leg back down. Come back into your high lunge here, looping your shoulders back. Step that left leg back. Come into a nice downward dog if you'd like, or come down into your extended, wide-legged Balasana or Child's Pose. Extend those arms out in front. Whew. Feel all that tapas, that burn, that heat that you've created. You should be feeling like a fired and tired warrior at this point. Let's gently come back to a seated position. I'm going to use my hands to help guide my knees back together. We're going to take our last pose, coming back to where we started in Vajrasana. Except for this time, you do not have to do fire toes. If you feel heated up enough, feel free to just sit on your block, loop your shoulders back, gaze forward. Take notice of how you feel. I'm feeling heated. I'm feeling strong. My thighs feel stretched out. My hips feel looser, a little bit more open. My core's feeling engaged. These are all things that we've wanted to accomplish during this practice. This heat, the sweat, the burn sensation, but all good burns. No major wounds. Once you start to feel that heat starting to cool down, that cooler air hitting your forehead, we'll come back. I'll face you. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. I enjoyed helping you find that inner warrior. Hopefully use this energy, use this strength to help you through the rest of your work week. Remembering to burn within instead of burning out. Thank you.